I know that you don't like listening to advice. You've always been stubborn to a fault. I pray to God that you take the next 4 minutes and listen to what I have to say. I can't fully explain how I know the things I'm going to tell you, and you wouldn't believe me if I did. But if you can shut your mouth long enough to hear what I'm saying, it will save your life. It'll save your relationships, and it will save your soul. Tough doesn't begin to describe the spot you're in. You've lost your wife, your brother, your career, your family, your apartment, all of your belongings, and everything you've ever really loved. You have no hope left in you, and for the most part, the world has written you off. You are an unnamed, inconsequential, homeless drunk. That sounds harsh, I know. There's bad news, and then there's good news. The bad news is that virtually everything you've come to believe is a lie. The good news is that if you can have just a little bit of faith, the truth will break through and set you free. It's not an easy road ahead for you. Parts of it will feel like you're heading directly into hell and not away from it. But if you come to be as stubbornly convinced about the truth as you have been about lies, you will not only survive the journey, you will find freedom and happiness. Consider just a few of the lies you've been holding on to. For example, you believe that you will never find happiness again in meaningful relationships or in life itself. I'm here to tell you that you will be happier than you ever imagined possible. You will have true friends who value you and your company. The happiness you think you've lost forever doesn't hold a candle to what's in store for you. You also believe that the damage to the relationship with your family is beyond repair and that your parents will never forgive you for the things that you've done. This is a lie from the pit of hell. I'm here to tell you that your parents love you with everything they have, and even through your darkest days, they never stopped. If you can hang in there and believe, the relationship with your family will be restored to a place it was never at in the first place. You believe that there are two options for the remainder of your life, that either 1, you will be hopelessly drunk and homeless for the rest of your life, or 2, you'll be dead because of your drinking. The irony of this lie is that it is self-fulfilling. The longer you hold on to it, the longer it will actually seem to be true. I'm here to tell you that neither of these options are for you, and that one day you will have a purposeful life, free from addiction, rich with blessings. You will find meaning every day and have a new hope that is indescribably beautiful. You believe that you have sinned against God to such an extent that He has turned His back on you. This would surely be an awful reality if it were true, but this is another lie from the enemy. I'm here to tell you that God is not surprised by anything you did, and that He's been waiting for you this entire time with open arms. The truth is that you have been justified by the sacrifice of Christ and forgiven by God for everything you've done. I could go on, but I'm sure that you get the point by now. With your current mindset, it's really no wonder you're hopeless. You stay hopeless because you drink, and you drink because you're hopeless. I'm here to tell you that life is so much more than this. You are so much more than this. So hang in there, better days are coming. You're in the storm before the rainbow. Get the help you know that you need and stay the course. Stay the course when it feels like withdrawal will kill you. Stay the course when you're depressed and can't find happiness. Stay the course when it feels like your relationships will never heal. Stay the course when it feels like God is still angry with you. Stay the course when you can't stand being around any of the other people who are struggling with you. Stay the course when you don't like any of the people who are actually there to help you. And please, stay the course when you don't even like yourself. You're at the very beginning, but this course gets easier. Every minute you put between you and your old self will help, and at the end of this course is a prize worth fighting for, freedom. I love you. I hate where you're at, but I praise God because I know where you're going. Me. I was in the grocery industry, and I worked my way up. Worked my way up from being a cashier to a point where I was in charge of 16 stores. And the best thing that ever happened to me at Kroger happened, and that's where I met my wife, Hadley. And so we got married, and we continued to work with each other, and then she passed away in her sleep one night from heart disease. At that point, I took what I thought was going to be maybe a month, maybe 2 months off of work, but I ended up taking off of work forever and just didn't go back because I'd been drinking so much that there's no way I could go back to work at that point. I knew it was bad, and my family knew it was bad, and my brother knew it was bad, and he had struggled with some addiction himself, so he came to rescue me, and he picked me up and drove me back to his place, and I got clean for a little while, but then my brother committed suicide, in part from addiction, and at that point, everything fell apart, and I just went as deep into the bottle as I could get. You're about as low as you can get when your mother is going from emergency room to emergency room to emergency room, showing your picture and looking for you, because she fears that you're dead or hurt. That's as bad as it gets from her perspective, but it got so much worse than that. I mean, I remember it being rainy and snowy, and you don't have anywhere to go, so you end up riding the train all night, which is a terrible thing to do. And so you use to survive that. So I got drunk, and when I woke up, they had stolen my shoes and my backpack. And so now it's raining and cold and snowy, and I have no shoes and no backpack. You have it in your mind that you'll never be able to be out of addiction, that you'll never get free of it, that you will always be drunk. And you know these things to be true, and you will not accept anybody else telling you that, hey, there's another way. So what I've learned since then is that I have to be willing, and the addict has to be willing, to accept the possibility that they might be wrong about this, the possibility that there might be a better way than what I've been doing on my own. And once I accepted that, I realized that all of the things that I'd held to be true were not true, and that there is a better way and there is a chance at freedom. When I came into Teen Challenge, everybody was very nice to me, but it's a process getting through admissions, and I wasn't sure I was going to stay, especially once they told me it was a no-smoking facility. But I was getting ready to leave, and I was getting agitated because it takes some time to get through that. And the lady at the front desk says, it's Teen Challenge's best lunch today. At least have some lunch before you leave, and then you can leave. And it was macaroni and cheese and chicken nuggets. And so she brought me that, and by the time I was done with that, I had finished with admissions, and I was a full-fledged client. It wasn't long after I was at Teen Challenge before I recognized that this was a safe place and the place where I should be. I was actually sitting in the chapel maybe a week in, and I was really just trying to get away from other people. But I was sitting there in the chapel, and lights were dim, and I felt a peace, and I thought that this is the place where I'm supposed to be. When I graduated the long-term program, I was free from addiction, and I was getting close to God, and I was feeling good about myself, but I still had no place to live, no job, no driver's license, no credit history, and nothing with which to go rebuild a life. So I decided to come to the Leadership Institute and start working on some of those things. As I was nearing the end of my time at Teen Challenge Leadership Institute, it just so happened that a job opened up within the company, within the school. There was an opening for the administrative assistant, and I knew that Teen Challenge and Teen Challenge Leadership Institute had changed my life, and I knew that I had more optimism than I ever had in the previous 2 decades. And so I thought that this would be a great place for me to work, and this would be a great place for me to pay back a little bit of what I've received from this program. And so I applied. I love working for Teen Challenge because every day means something. Even when I was successful in the grocery industry, every day was the same, and very little of it meant anything. Now I can come to work, and every day I go home, and I can point to 1 or 2 things during that day, and I can say, I did that, and that made a difference. And that's not something you get with most jobs.